Fired over a stolen Rolex. My housekeeper slipped away quietly, leaving behind only a cracked burner phone. When I powered it on, I uncovered the chilling truth. My husband was plotting my murder to claim my inheritance. Morning sunlight streamed through the tall glass panels of the dining room, sparkling across the pristine white porcelain and polished sterling silver cutlery, arranged with meticulous care. The inviting scent of freshly brewed espresso, mingled with avocado toast, Ryan's favorite, drifted in from the kitchen. On the surface, Amelia's existence resembled a flawless oil painting. A strikingly handsome and prosperous husband, a lavish residence in Greenwich, Connecticut's most exclusive enclave, and absolute financial independence. Amelia set the coffee cup neatly to the right of Ryan's plate, her smile warm as she heard her husband's footsteps descending the sweeping grand staircase. Yet that smile faded the moment she caught sight of his expression. Ryan no longer resembled the poised, unflappable marketing director she knew so well. His cheeks were flushed, his hair faintly tousled, his breaths coming in short, labored bursts. His immaculate white shirt was buttoned, but the left cuff hung open and empty. "Honey, what's wrong?" Amelia asked gently, extending a hand toward his arm. Ryan eased her touch aside, his gaze sweeping the room uneasily. "My watch, Amy. The Rolex Daytona. Where did you put it?" Amelia's brow furrowed. "The Rolex? Our anniversary gift. Isn't it always resting in the watch winder on your dresser?" "It's gone," Ryan snapped, his voice rising sharply enough to startle her. "I've searched there, the drawers, my jacket pockets, nothing. The box remains, but the watch has vanished. Perhaps you misplaced it last night after returning from the city." Amelia tried to calm him, though her own pulse quickened at the raw, unfamiliar panic flickering in his eyes. The timepiece was costly, easily tens of thousands, but Ryan's reaction bordered on desperation, as though his very existence hinged on its recovery. "I didn't misplace it, Amelia. I always return it there," Ryan muttered, scrubbing a hand across his face. "I have a critical meeting today with key clients. The senior executive from Singapore is arriving. Image matters more than ever." He left the thought unfinished. Instead, he whirled, his stare fixing on the kitchen where an older woman was quietly wiping the marble island. Maria. The woman in her late 50s had served Amelia faithfully since before her marriage, 10 impeccable years. Maria lowered her gaze, her frame trembling faintly beneath the sudden charge in the atmosphere. "Maria," Ryan barked. She flinched, nearly dropping the cloth. "Yes, sir?" "Did you see my watch? Silver band, black dial, the one I keep on the dresser." "No, sir. I would never touch anything on your or Mrs. Amelia's dresser. I only clean the floors," Maria replied, her voice quivering. Ryan advanced, his stride heavy and menacing. "Are you certain? Only you and Amelia enter our bedroom while I'm away. Amelia would never take her own husband's belongings." "I swear to God, sir, I didn't take it," Maria whispered, tears welling. Amelia stepped forward at once, positioning herself between them. "Ryan, please, don't accuse her outright. Maria has been with me a decade. She's never even pocketed spare change from errands. Let's search again, carefully. Perhaps it slid behind the cushions or dropped in the car." Ryan regarded Amelia with an odd, unreadable look, anger laced with fear, and something deeper, almost frantic. "We don't have time for a leisurely search, Amy. That's a valuable asset, and right now I trust no one." His tone turned icy. "Step aside. I'm checking her room." "Amelia," Amelia gasped, but he had already marched toward the service wing, aiming for the modest room tucked behind the kitchen where Maria resided. The space was compact yet immaculate. A simple plastic wardrobe, a narrow cot, a small fan. Family photos of her grandchildren adorned the walls, reminders of her distant homeland. Now the tranquil haven lay in disarray. Ryan tore through the wardrobe, flinging faded house dresses, aprons, and prayer beads across the floor. "Ryan, stop! This is unacceptable," Amelia pleaded, clutching his arm. Maria lingered in the doorway, weeping silently as her private world was ransacked. Be quiet, Amy. You're far too trusting, Ryan growled without turning. He dropped to his knees and lifted the mattress. Beneath it rested a dark green velvet box, the spare watch case Ryan normally stored in their own closet's bottom drawer, coated in a fine veil of dust. Ryan seized it with dramatic flair. See this? Amelia stood frozen. He flipped open the lid. Empty. Where is the watch? Ryan demanded, thrusting the vacant box toward Maria's face. The box is here, so you've already sold it, haven't you? Maria blanched, her knees buckling as she sank to the floor. For the love of God, sir, I don't know how that box got here. I've never seen it before. I swear. Thieves rarely admit their crimes, Ryan sneered. Otherwise, prisons would overflow. He flung the box down with a dull, sickening thud. Amelia's mind reeled, reason clashing against instinct. The evidence sat plainly before her, the box undoubtedly in Maria's room, yet her heart rebelled against the conclusion. This was the same Maria who attended her through a severe flu while Ryan traveled for work, the same woman who always reported a chipped glass or stained cuff with complete honesty. Stealing a fortune in jewelry seemed utterly alien to her character. Ryan, perhaps there's been a terrible mistake, Amelia murmured faintly. Maybe she carried it here by accident while tidying our room. Carried it here? From the bottom drawer? Hidden? Ryan countered. She must have rifled through our things while we were gone. He seized Amelia's shoulders, his gaze piercing, compelling her agreement. She's exploiting your gentleness. She assumes your softness makes you an easy mark. Today a watch, what tomorrow? Your jewelry, the house itself? The word soft pierced her. He had once cherished her tender spirit. Now it rang like a reproach. I didn't take it, ma'am. Please believe me, Maria sobbed, hands pressed together in desperate supplication. Ryan clicked his tongue in scorn. Enough of the theatrics. Now, where is the watch? Where did you pawn it? I didn't take it, sir. Fine. If you won't confess, perhaps the police will convince you. Ryan reached into his pocket and drew out his smartphone. Don't! Amelia caught his wrist. No police, Ryan. Think of her family back home. He stared at her in astonishment. She steals from us and you still pity her? My God, Amelia. His glare at Maria turned venomous. Fine, because my wife is far too kind. Pack your things. I want you gone from this house immediately. 15 minutes. That was all the grace Ryan allowed. The once inviting home now felt frigid and hostile. Ryan positioned himself in the living room, arms folded tightly, eyes fixed on the hallway like a warden guarding against escape, ensuring Maria took nothing more. In the kitchen, Amelia stood paralyzed. She longed to assist Maria with packing, but Ryan's piercing stare held her in place. For the first time in their 5-year marriage, she felt like a stranger to the man in her living room. The Ryan she had known was measured and patient, not this volatile figure ready to cast out an elderly woman like a common criminal. Maria appeared from her room, clutching a single, battered duffel bag and a cardboard box with her few remaining possessions. Her eyes were puffy, her nose reddened. She avoided glancing toward the living room. She approached Amelia, yearning to embrace her longtime employer, yet aware of her station. Instead, she simply pressed her hands to her chest. I'm so sorry, ma'am. Thank you for your kindness all these years, she murmured, voice breaking. Maria, I'm the one who's sorry. About Ryan, Amelia whispered in return, tears brimming. She slipped a hand into her pocket, clutching several $100 bills she had quietly taken from her wallet. This is for your journey home. Maria shook her head gently, refusing the offer. No, ma'am. The sir will be furious if he discovers it. I have a small amount saved. Take it, Maria, please, Amelia urged, pressing the money firmly into the pocket of Maria's jacket. Ryan's voice boomed from the living room. No secret whispers. Maria flinched. She met Amelia's eyes with a new intensity, not mere sorrow, but something urgent, laden with unspoken warning. Ma'am, she breathed, so softly the words barely stirred the air, lips hardly moving. "Be careful. The sir is not who you believe him to be." Amelia's brow creased. "What do you mean?" Before Maria could reply, Ryan strode into the kitchen, his presence thickening the atmosphere. "Is the goodbye ceremony finished? Out." He marched them to the back door. He refused to let Maria exit through the front. To him, she was now refuse to be discarded via the service entrance. The back door opened onto a narrow alley reserved for landscapers. The morning sky hung heavy and gray, echoing Amelia's sinking heart. Ryan lingered in the doorway, confirming Maria passed through the gate. "Wait here, I'll fetch the padlock for the back entrance," he muttered, then disappeared inside, leaving Amelia and Maria alone on the small patio for a fleeting moment. The instant his silhouette vanished around the corner, Maria's posture transformed. Resignation evaporated. With quick, cautious motions, she delved into her duffel bag. Her lined hand emerged, holding a small, outdated Nokia-style flip phone, a burner, its screen fractured in a web of cracks, secured by a rubber band to keep the battery in place. "Ma'am, take this," Maria whispered, pressing the device into Amelia's palm. "Maria, this is your only phone." "Shh, hide it." Maria's gaze flicked toward the door. "Listen carefully, ma'am. Open the media folder, then voice memos. I couldn't speak openly. I was too afraid." Amelia clutched the chilled phone, confusion swirling. "What is happening?" "Listen to the recordings, ma'am, for your safety. Never let the sir know you have this. If he discovers it, our lives are in danger." A shiver raced down Amelia's spine at the raw terror in Maria's tone, not the hurt of wrongful dismissal, but the dread of someone who'd glimpsed something lethal. Ryan's footsteps echoed closer. With an instinct she hadn't known she possessed, Amelia slipped the old Nokia into the back of her waistband, the loose sweater concealing any outline. Her heart hammered violently. Ryan reappeared, padlock in hand, expression still rigid. "Let's finish this." Maria cast Amelia a final, weighted glance, a silent farewell burdened with gravity, then lifted her bag and stepped through the gate. Ryan snapped the padlock shut with a decisive click that rang like closure. "Done," he exhaled deeply, as though unburdened. Turning to Amelia, his features softened, the mask of the devoted husband sliding back into place. He brushed her cheek tenderly. "I'm sorry, darling. I had to be stern. It was for our protection. I won't allow a thief under our roof. I'll arrange a new housekeeper from a trusted agency." Amelia managed a taut smile. Against the small of her back, the cracked phone scorched like hidden fire. "Yes, Ryan, you're right," she replied softly, her first lie to the husband she had once cherished without question. 2 hours later, Ryan had departed from the office, hurrying out with the excuse of salvaging his meeting with the Singapore client, even without his cherished Rolex. The expansive house fell into an oppressive hush. Amelia perched on the edge of the master bed. In her palm rested Maria's Nokia, a grimy relic amid the room's designer elegance. The screen was badly shattered. She pressed the power button. A faint glow appeared, the classic handshake logo warped by fractured pixels. 1 bar of battery remained. Her fingers, trained on sleek touchscreens, fumbled over the stiff physical keys. Menu, media, memory card, voice memos. A single file waited. Voice 001 AMR. Timestamp, yesterday, 4:30 p.m., when Amelia had been at a charity luncheon and Ryan was supposedly still at work. Amelia swallowed, finger quivering above the center button. Play. At first, only static. Then came the sound of footsteps. It seemed Maria had recorded covertly, perhaps from inside her pocket or through a narrow door crack. The audio was muffled yet distinct. Then Ryan's voice emerged, unmistakable and sharp. "Yeah, it's safe. I've got the cash." Amelia froze. It was Ryan's voice, but stripped of any warmth or command, replaced by something raw, frantic, and sly. "I don't care if the price is low. I need 20 grand in cash by tonight, man. If not, your guys are going to take me out." A pause. Ryan appeared to be listening to the reply. "Relax. My wife will never suspect a thing. She's naive, easy to deceive. Tomorrow morning, I'll stage the whole scene. The old housekeeper becomes the perfect scapegoat. I'll plant the box in a room. Simple." Tears slid silently down Amelia's cheeks. Her breath snagged in her throat. "Yeah, I already sold the Rolex just to cover this month's interest. As for the remaining 200,000 from gambling debts, I'm handling it. The house deed is in her name, but I've had the paperwork prepared. I'll convince her to sign over power of attorney. I'll say it's for some tax matter." A dry, cruel chuckle crackled through the speaker. "It's effortless. She trusts me completely. She believes I'm the ideal husband. Truth is, I only need her father's fortune." The recording cut off abruptly. Amelia let the phone fall onto the bed as though it had burned her. Her entire world shattered in that instant. The theft had been fabricated. Ryan's fury had been staged. His affection had been a lie. Her husband wasn't a victim of a crime. He was a compulsive gambler sinking in debt, ruthless enough to frame an innocent elderly woman to conceal his tracks. And his next mark wasn't merely a watch or jewels. It was the house and Amelia herself. Suddenly, her iPhone vibrated on the nightstand. Ryan's smiling face filled the screen. Normally, she would have answered with delight. Now the image twisted her stomach. She caught her reflection in the mirrored closet door. The trusting, innocent woman had vanished, replaced by someone pale and resolute, holding the proof that could unravel everything. She couldn't respond in her usual voice. She had to perform. From this moment, their marriage had become a dangerous theater, and survival demanded she outact the master of deception. She drew a steadying breath, wiped her tears with fierce determination, and swiped to answer. "Hi, honey." Her tone held steady, though her fingers clenched the bedspread until her knuckles blanched. The silent war within their home had begun. That evening, past 7 o'clock, Amelia stood at the stove, stirring filet mignon in a red wine reduction alongside roasted asparagus. The rich aroma enveloped the kitchen. Her hands moved mechanically through a ritual performed countless times, but her thoughts drifted far away. In the pocket of her lounge pants, Maria's Nokia weighed like an anchor, drawing the room's gravity toward it. The automatic gate hummed open. Amelia's pulse surged. Ryan's car was arriving. Breathe in, breathe out. No trembling. She switched off the burner, stepped to the hallway mirror, and forced a gentle smile onto her lips. She studied the reflection, the picture of a serene, unsuspecting wife. The mask Ryan had crafted for her, she now wielded against him. The front door opened. Ryan entered, suit jacket draped over one shoulder. He looked weary, yet a flicker of relief shone in his eyes, impossible to mask. The crushing pressure that had fueled his outburst that morning seemed to have eased. "I'm home," he called. Amelia approached, pressing a soft kiss to the back of his hand. His skin felt unnaturally cold against the heat raging inside her. "How was your day, darling? Did the meeting go smoothly?" Ryan kissed her forehead, those same lips that, on the recording, had plotted her ruin. Amelia suppressed a surge of revulsion. "Excellent. The Singapore client was genuinely impressed. He lied effortlessly, without a flicker." He slipped off his shoes, then glanced at his bare wrist with practiced sorrow, a flawless act. "I still feel wrong without that watch. I can't believe Maria actually did it." Amelia bit the inside of her cheek to stifle a scream. "Let it go, Ryan. We'll chalk it up to misfortune. The important thing is your meeting succeeded. You're right. You truly are the most understanding wife." He smiled and moved toward the dining table. "Wow. Filet mignon with red wine reduction and roasted asparagus. You knew I was starving. I didn't even grab lunch. The presentation kept me swamped." Another lie, Amelia thought. You weren't presenting. You were closing a shady deal. That dinner became the most agonizing ordeal of her life. She sat opposite the man she had loved for 5 years, scrutinizing every gesture, the precise way he sliced his steak, the measured sip of sauce, the easy chuckle at some fabricated office anecdote. Everything appeared ordinary, too ordinary. That was the horror. Ryan wasn't a snarling villain. He was a predator capable of warm laughter moments after ruining lives. "Oh, by the way, Ryan," Amelia said lightly, setting down her spoon, "someone from the bank called today pushing a high-limit credit card. I declined naturally. Our finances are solid, aren't they?" His spoon paused for the briefest instant, almost undetectable, but Amelia noticed. He cleared his throat. "Why bother with a telemarketer? Of course we're fine. Why bring it up?" His gaze probed hers. "No particular reason. It's just that the savings for our future children's education is in your other account. I wanted to confirm everything's secure. You know, that international school we dreamed about? It'll cost a fortune." "Don't worry, darling. Everything is perfectly managed. I handle finances professionally at work. You think I'd mishandle our own?" Ryan laughed, but the mirth never reached his eyes. "You don't need to concern yourself with money. Your job is to be beautiful at home, take care of me," he glanced around the house, "and protect our assets." The word assets rang in Amelia's ears like a veiled threat. Later that night, as Ryan snored softly beside her, Amelia lay awake, eyes fixed on his back. The same broad shoulders she once wrapped her arms around now felt like an impenetrable, icy barrier between her and the truth. She sat up slowly, reaching for his phone on the nightstand. Locked. Face ID. She couldn't risk waking him. She replaced it quietly. She needed a smarter path. She had to outthink him. The next morning, the instant Ryan's car vanished down the driveway, Amelia moved with purpose. She skipped her usual yoga class and lunch outing. Instead, she climbed to the second floor and entered Ryan's home office, a space he always guarded as his private sanctuary, rarely allowing her inside. She powered on his old laptop, one he seldom used but which remained synced to the same Google account as his work machine. Ryan's arrogance had left him careless. He assumed she was technologically clueless and would never dare look. The browser opened. Google account still logged in. She checked his search history. Empty. Cleared. She switched to Google Maps timeline, a feature most overlooked. Ryan had neglected to disable location history. Yesterday's path appeared. 9 a.m., departed home. 10:15 a.m., arrived in Manhattan's Diamond District, far from his Midtown office. 11 a.m. to 1 p.m., stationary at an old building on 47th Street. 2 p.m., brief return to the office. "The Diamond District," Amelia whispered. She zoomed in. Among dozens of shops, one name stood out, Levinson's Estate Jewelry, marked as a favorite a week earlier. She opened a new tab and navigated to their joint online banking. She knew Ryan's username from past glimpses. Password attempts. Wedding date? Failed. His birthday? Failed. She recalled the recording. Gambling debts. She tried a peculiar phrase she'd once seen him jot down. Dragon 88. Failed. Sighing, she nearly gave up, then noticed a small post-it tucked beneath the monitor. Ryan's hurried scrawl. Mom's B-Day. She entered her late mother-in-law's birth date. Login successful. Her heart stuttered at the balances glaring back. Checking, $1,500. Savings, $200. Brokerage, empty. Where had the hundreds of thousands from his annual bonus vanished? Where were their joint savings? She opened a transaction history, a cascade of red. Wire transfers out, Zelle payments, ACH withdrawals. Recipients varied, Vegas Rush Online, Zeus Bolt, and repeated transfers to M. Russo. In the past 3 months alone, over $150,000 had flowed to gambling platforms and dubious personal accounts. Amelia pressed her hand to her mouth, muffling a sob. They were ruined. Worse, debts were compounding with interest. Their opulent life was a fragile facade on the verge of collapse. But the deepest wound wasn't financial. It was the dates. One $50,000 transfer had landed on their wedding anniversary last month, the very day Ryan claimed he couldn't afford a gift because the bonus hadn't cleared yet. That money had funded a gambling deposit. She printed the statements, folded them into tiny squares, and concealed them inside a box of tampons in her bathroom cabinet, a place Ryan would never venture. Now she held proof of motive, but she needed irrefutable evidence of the crime itself. She had to visit the Diamond District. That afternoon, the district buzzed, crowded, humid, alive with haggling voices. Amelia wore oversized sunglasses and a face mask, concealing most of her features. She took an Uber, asking to be dropped a block away. Levinson's estate jewelry sat squeezed between a textile wholesaler and a shoe repair shop. From the street, it appeared unremarkable, a faded watch dealer's front store. But the moment she pushed through the heavy glass door, the world shifted. A rush of chilled air enveloped her. The interior gleamed with polished mahogany and deep red velvet. No ordinary display cases. Watches rested behind locked wall-mounted safes. A middle-aged Asian man in a silk shirt sat behind an elevated counter, meticulously polishing a diamond ring with a microfiber cloth. "Good afternoon. Selling or buying?" he asked briskly, appraising her from head to toe. Her Hermes bag and Gucci shoes prompted a subtle straightening of his posture. Potential buyer. "I'm looking for a men's watch, a gift for my husband. He loves Rolex. I heard you have an excellent selection." He offered a thin smile. "Rolex, yes. We carry many. Which model? Submariner? Datejust? Daytona?" "Daytona," Amelia said swiftly. "Black dial. He mentioned it's difficult to source." His smile broadened. "You're fortunate. It must be destiny. I received one just yesterday afternoon. Pristine condition, full set with box and papers, warranty intact." He moved to a rear safe, spun the combination dial, and retrieved a dark green velvet box. Agonizingly familiar. Amelia's pulse thundered as he opened it. Nestled on cream satin lay Ryan's watch. She recognized the faint scratch on the clasp from when he'd knocked it against his desk last month. "May I?" she asked, voice steady by the tremor in her fingers as she lifted it. "Of course. A remarkable piece. The previous owner was in urgent need of funds, so he parted with it at a fair price. At an authorized boutique, you'd wait 5 years. Here, you can walk out with it today. $35,000. Amelia turned the watch over, feigning close examination of its authenticity. Her eyes found the serial number laser-etched on the caseback, identical to the one on the warranty card, still tucked safely in Ryan's drawer at home. Ryan had been careless. He'd forgotten, or hadn't bothered, to bring the warranty card when he sold it. Or perhaps the shop hadn't insisted. Either way, the proof was undeniable.
"Why was the previous owner in such a hurry to sell?" Amelia asked lightly. The dealer chuckled. "You know how these things go. Young guy, living beyond his means, stocks, gambling, whatever. Loses big, starts liquidating. His name was Ryan, if memory serves. Sharp dresser, but sweating profusely when he came in, practically begging for cash." Amelia's world tilted. Verbal confirmation. Ryan, sweating bullets, begging. She set the watch back on the counter with deliberate calm. She wanted to shout that it was stolen marital property, but this was hostile ground. Not yet. "It's stunning," she said, "but I should consult my husband first. May I take a quick photo?" "Sure, but make it fast. It's a hot piece, plenty of interest." Amelia snapped several shots, ensuring the distinctive clasp scratch and the shop's distinctive background were unmistakable in the frame. "Thank you. I'll be in touch this afternoon." She slipped out swiftly. The sweltering New York air enveloped her, yet she felt ice in her veins. Second piece of evidence secured. Ryan wasn't merely a liar. He was a chillingly accomplished performer. He had sold the watch himself, then returned home to obliterate Maria's life and deflect suspicion. That afternoon, Amelia arrived home, head reeling. She craved a scalding shower to steady her nerves. But before she could ascend the stairs, the doorbell chimed. She checked the intercom monitor. A stocky man in a black leather jacket stood at the gate. No package, no friendly expression. Yes, she answered through the speaker. Delivery, ma'am. Documents for Mr. Ryan. Require signature. His voice was gravelly. Mr. Ryan isn't home yet. You can leave it with the gatehouse security. Can't do that, ma'am. Urgent papers from his office. You're his wife, right? You can sign. Alarm bells rang. Her instincts, now honed by fresh paranoia, screamed danger. Yet refusing might arouse suspicion or provoke a scene in the quiet neighborhood. She retrieved a small pair of scissors from the console drawer, slipped them into her pocket, and approached the gate. She kept it closed, speaking through the wrought iron bars. "Where's the package?" The man smiled, a cold, mirthless curve. He stepped closer, thick ringed fingers curling around the bars. "You're Mrs. Amelia, correct?" His tone dropped, shedding any pretense of delivery. "Please tell your husband, 10. The boss sends his regards." Amelia paled. "Who are you? My husband has no dealings with people like you." She tried to sound firm, though her knees trembled. The man gave a soft, menacing chuckle. "Oh, Mr. Ryan has plenty of business with us. Tell him this week's interest is overdue. Deadline is tomorrow, noon sharp." He drew a Zippo lighter from his pocket, flicked it open, and let the flame dance inches from her face, separated only by the gate. "If he's even 1 minute late, we can't guarantee this lovely home stays so comfortable. Leave or I'll call security," Amelia threatened. "Go ahead and scream. The guard in this complex owes us too." He snapped the lighter shut. "Tomorrow at noon, ma'am, or we'll collect something else as collateral. Maybe the car, maybe you." He winked, then sauntered to a sport motorcycle parked down the block and roared away. Amelia sank against the gate, legs buckling. The threat was tangible. They knew her name. They knew her address. Ryan hadn't merely squandered their money, he had delivered mortal peril to their threshold. She couldn't delay. She had to act now, before the boss chose violent collection. That night, Ryan didn't return. A terse text arrived. "Working late. Don't wait up." Amelia knew better. He was likely scrambling for another loan to cover the interest, or gambling again, chasing the elusive big win to break the cycle, a deadly spiral. She locked herself in the bedroom, retrieved Maria's burner phone, and checked the voice memos folder again. Maria said recordings, plural. She was right. A second file, voice 002 AMR, 10 minutes long. She inserted earbuds for clarity. The recording opened with Ryan's labored breathing, the low rumble of a car engine, distant horns filtering through the line. "Hello, Carol." Amelia frowned. "Carol? Aunt Carol, his father's sister." "Yeah, it's Ryan. I know, I've screwed up, been reckless, but I swear I'll recover it all." His tone turned wheedling, childish. "The house deed is secure. It's in Amelia's name, but I've already drafted a fake grant deed. I'll get her signature in the next day or two. She's easy to manipulate. She won't scrutinize the fine print." Amelia clamped her mouth over. "Once she signs, I transfer title to myself, then use it as collateral for a bank loan. 5 million, easy. Enough to clear my debts, with plenty left to seed that new venture in Bali. We just walk away. Amelia has no one else anyway." A long silence. Then a woman's voice, faint, raspy, came through the line. "Just make sure that foolish girl suspects nothing. If necessary, arrange a small accident to keep her disoriented." Amelia's blood turned to frost. She knew that voice. Aunt Carol, the woman who had always been so warm, who brought holiday cakes with genuine smiles. She was complicit. "Understood, Auntie. Don't worry. The Ambien you supplied, I've been crushing a little into her drink every night. That's why she's been so dizzy and forgetful lately. By the time she signs, she'll be in a complete fog." Amelia tore the earbuds free. Her hands flew to her throat, suddenly constricted. Ambien. That explained the persistent lethargy, the misplaced keys, the unnaturally deep sleep she had attributed to stress or aging. She was being slowly poisoned by her own husband. Amelia bolted to the bathroom and retched violently into the sink.
The filet mignon with red wine reduction and roasted asparagus, the coffee Ryan had brewed for her that morning. Everything now tasted like poison. She splashed cold water across her face and met her own gaze in the mirror. Her eyes were bloodshot, but not from grief. Pure, burning rage. "You want to play dirty, Ryan?" she whispered to her reflection. "Fine, I can play dirtier." The rumble of Ryan's car echoed into the garage far sooner than anticipated. Amelia swiftly concealed Maria's burner phone inside the bathroom ceiling's exhaust fan housing, the one place he'd never think to check. She smoothed her clothes, spritzed perfume to mask the sour scent of vomit, and stepped out. Ryan entered the bedroom holding a plain brown manila envelope. His face wore that nauseatingly saccharine smile once more. "Honey, you're still awake," he purred. "Perfect. I brought those documents from the tax office I mentioned. They need signing tonight so I can file them first thing tomorrow. Just routine property tax reassessment paperwork." He set the envelope on the vanity beside a steaming glass of warm milk he'd carried up from the kitchen. "I warmed some milk for you, too, to help you sleep deeply," Ryan added with practiced tenderness. Amelia stared at the glass, white, gently steaming, a vessel of slow death. Then, at the envelope, her financial execution order. She offered the sweetest smile she could muster. "Thank you, darling. Just leave it there. I'll sip it soon. Let me give you a shoulder rub first. You look so tense." She moved behind him. Her fingers settled on his shoulders and began kneading. While her hands worked mechanically, her mind raced, weaving a counter-strategy. Tonight, Ryan would receive no signature. Tonight, Amelia would begin dispensing her own remedy. The next morning, the house felt like an opulent trap. Amelia sensed eyes on her. Not security cameras, Ryan was too miserly to install them indoors, but his husband's watchful, suspicious stare. "Where are you going?" he demanded sharply as she descended the stairs, purse in hand, dressed for the day. He sat in the living room, pretending to scan the Wall Street Journal, though dark circles shadowed his sleepless eyes. Amelia drew a steadying breath, then turned with the weary, practiced expression she'd rehearsed before the mirror. "To the doctor, Ryan. I've had a splitting headache since last night. I think the vertigo is flaring up." He studied her. The excuse aligned perfectly. The ambient he'd been dosing should indeed produce dizziness and fog. A faint, satisfied smirk tugged at his mouth. He believed his scheme was succeeding. "All right. Do you want me to drive you?" "No need. You're busy with the notary appointment this afternoon. I'll take an Uber. I don't feel safe behind the wheel like this." "Good. Be careful. Don't detour anywhere. Come straight back. We need to sign those papers tonight." Amelia nodded feebly and left. Once the Uber cleared the gated community, she quietly changed the destination in the app, not to any hospital, but to Grand Central Terminal. She had to find Maria. In a noisy corner of the terminal's dining concourse, surrounded by the clamor of travelers and the mingled scents of pretzels and coffee, Amelia spotted the older woman. Maria looked a decade older than when she'd been cast out 2 days ago. She sat clutching her bag, flinching at every passing stranger. "Ma'am, Amelia," Maria's voice cracked as tears welled. She reached to kiss her hand, but Amelia drew her into a fierce embrace, a silent alliance forged between two women betrayed by the same man. "Maria, it isn't safe for you to return home yet," Amelia whispered urgently. "Ryan knows your address." She pressed a thick envelope of cash and a key into Maria's palm, the key to a friend's vacant studio apartment in Queens. "Stay here for now. Don't go out unless absolutely necessary. Don't use your old phone." Maria accepted the key with trembling fingers. "Mr. Ryan is evil, ma'am. Pure evil. I overheard him on the phone with dangerous men. They'll hurt you if you don't sign those papers." "I know. I've listened to the recordings." Amelia met her gaze steadily. "Maria, I need one last favor. Besides the recordings, did you ever notice where Ryan hid his private documents, the ones not in the bedroom safe?" Maria frowned in concentration. "In the storage closet beneath the stairs, ma'am, behind the old car parts boxes. He used to linger there late at night. Once I peeked. He was slipping something into a rusty cookie tin. Gold." "Thank you, Maria. Now go. Only contact me in an emergency using this new number." Amelia handed her a fresh SIM card.
After ensuring Maria boarded a taxi bound for Queens, Amelia hurried home. She skipped the doctor, but paused at a pharmacy, vitamins that resembled sleeping pills, and a pregnancy test, not because she suspected pregnancy, but for a contingency she might soon need. At 4 o'clock, Ryan returned early, tension etched in his features, yet anticipation gleaming in his eyes. He carried the same brown envelope. Amelia sat on the sofa, massaging her temples, genuine headache this time, born of relentless strain and high-stakes performance. "How was the doctor?" he asked, loosening his tie. "Just stress and gastritis. He prescribed rest." "Excellent. Once you sign these, our worries ease. You can rest fully. I'll manage everything." He spread the documents across the coffee table with deliberate care. "Come, darling. Sign here, here, and here, on the notary line." Amelia leaned in, eyes sweeping the text. Power of all attorney to sell? Release of all claims? Full authority to dispose of her inherited family home without future recourse? Ryan wasn't playing small. "This legal wording is so dense, Ryan," she murmured, squinting in feigned bewilderment. "Power to sell? I thought this was only for taxes." His jaw clenched briefly. "It's standard legalese, Amy, just the lawyer's template for securing the tax benefits. You trust me, don't you?" He extended his Mont Blanc pen, pressing it towards her hand almost insistently. Amelia accepted it. Her fingers trembled, visibly, convincingly. This wasn't feigned. She was genuinely terrified. If she signed, everything ended. If she refused outright now, Ryan, cornered by the loan shark's noon deadline, might turn violent in desperation. "Let me get you some water first," Amelia said, stalling for time. "No, sign first," Ryan snapped, his thin veneer of patience cracking. Amelia flinched at the edge in his voice. Ryan caught himself, softening instantly. Sorry, darling. I'm just rushed. The notary's courier is waiting. Come on, sign." She touched the pen tip to the paper. Black ink kissed white. In that heartbeat, Amelia acted. "Ouch!" she gasped, clutching her stomach. Her left hand accidentally knocked over a glass of water. Liquid cascaded across the table, soaking part of the documents. "Amelia!" Ryan shouted in alarm, lunging to rescue the papers from the spreading puddle. "Sorry, Ryan. My stomach is cramping so badly," she moaned, doubling over in apparent agony. Ryan dabbed frantically with a napkin. Fortunately, only the cover sheet was drenched. The signature page remained dry. He thrust it toward her again. "Quick, sign before the rest gets ruined." Amelia took the pen once more. This time, no escape. She signed her name above the notary seal. Ryan's face split into a triumphant grin as the ink settled. He snatched the document, crammed it back into the envelope, and gripped it like treasure. "Done. Go rest now. I have to get this to the courier." He pecked her cheek hastily and hurried out. Amelia straightened. The stomach pain vanished in an instant. She watched his retreating figure with icy detachment. Ryan hadn't noticed that amid the chaos of the spill and frantic blotting, she had swapped his Mont Blanc for the erasable gel pen she'd purchased earlier that day. More crucially, she had subtly altered the loops in her A and the flourish on her M, a microscopic deviation that would fail any bank signature verification against her official ID. The loan would be rejected. Ryan would discover that only tomorrow, standing smugly before the bank manager. By then, Amelia had to be prepared for the fury that would follow. That night passed in unnerving quiet. Ryan returned bearing a box of extravagant cupcakes, playing the devoted husband to perfection. He believed victory was his. The house deed now rested in his grasp. "I'm taking a half-day tomorrow," he announced between bites of frosting, "to finalize the tax matters." "Okay, darling," Amelia replied tersely. While Ryan showered, she slipped to the storage closet under the stairs. As Maria described, it smelled of dust and old metal. She shifted boxes of obsolete car parts. In the shadowed corner, beneath a greasy rag, sat the rusty Danish butter cookie tin. She lifted the lid. No cookies, only discarded SIM cards, voided checks, and a slim black notebook. Amelia opened it. Ryan's ledger of transgressions. January, lost $12,000 poker. February, $115,000 slots. March, borrowed $150,000 from Aunt Carol. Collateral, Amelia's SUV title. She checked the drawer where she kept her Honda CR-V title. Empty. Her car had been pledged to Aunt Carol for months. She turned to the final entries. Target, Greenwich House, estimated value $8 million. Plan, quick sale $5 million cash. Escape to Bali with Aunt Carol and Vina. Vina? Amelia flipped the page. A tucked photograph, Ryan's arm around a young, glamorous woman in a nightclub. On the reverse, in his handwriting, my lucky charm, Vina. Amelia crushed the photo in her fist. It wasn't just gambling, there was another woman, and Aunt Carol, his own aunt, had enabled the entire scheme, a family syndicate of parasites. She replaced the tin, but pocketed the notebook and photo. Tonight, she would begin eroding Ryan's sanity. When Ryan emerged from the bathroom, he found a slip of paper on his pillow. $35,000, the precise amount he'd received for the Rolex. His eyes widened. He glanced at Amelia, who sat calmly brushing her hair at the vanity. "What is this, honey?" His voice quavered. She turned, all innocent. "What, honey? Oh, that paper. It fell out of your work pants when I was loading the laundry. What does it mean?" Ryan blanched. He knew he hadn't written it. It's the sales target for my team next month. Revenue goal." He crumpled the note and tossed it in the trash. Amelia smiled inwardly. First point scored. An hour later, Ryan lounged watching television. His phone buzzed. A WhatsApp from an unknown number. Just a photo. His Rolex Daytona gleaming in Levinson's display case. No text. Ryan bolted upright. He dialed the number. "The number you have dialed is not in service." He stormed into the bedroom, staring at Amelia, who feigned sleep. He almost shook her awake, but stopped. Questioning her would expose his guilt. He paced like a trapped beast, sweat beading on his brow. Was someone tailing him? Had the loan shark discovered the sale? Did Amelia know? Yet she lay so serene, too serene for a betrayed wife. "Ryan, why aren't you sleeping? Your pacing is making me dizzy," she murmured, eyes still closed. "Nothing, just insomnia," he stammered. He swallowed 2 of the Ambien pills intended for her because now he was the one desperate for oblivion. "Under the covers," she whispered to herself with a faint smirk. "Sweet nightmares, my dear husband." The next morning was Judgment Day. Ryan departed at first light, envelope in hand, dressed in his sharpest suit despite the exhaustion etched beneath his eyes. Amelia waited at home. At 10 a.m., she dialed his office. "Hello, may I speak to Human Resources, please? This is Amelia, Ryan's wife. I'm calling to confirm something about his health insurance." "Oh, Mrs. Amelia? I'm sorry, Mr. Ryan hasn't worked here for 2 months. He was terminated for misappropriation of company funds." Amelia hung up, hand trembling. So Ryan had been fired 2 months earlier. Every morning he left the house. Every evening he returned, not to work, but to gamble at shadowy online cafes or linger at Aunt Carol's. No salary. The grocery money he'd handed her last month had come from quietly selling more of her jewelry. At 11:13 a.m., Ryan's phone, now tracked by the discreet app Amelia had installed while he slept under sedation, pinged his location at a prominent private bank in Midtown Manhattan. She could picture it vividly. Ryan sliding the envelope across the counter, the teller scrutinizing, a supervisor summoned, then the flat denial. Sure enough, at 12:15 p.m., the complex security buzzed the intercom. "Ma'am, 3 large men are here asking for Mr. Ryan. They look impatient." The loan sharks. The noon deadline had expired. "Tell them he's not home and do not let them inside," Amelia instructed firmly. "They're insisting, ma'am. They're waiting right outside the main gate." She ended the call. She opened her phone and sent Ryan a brief text.
Ryan, some men are at the house. I think they're your friends. They're carrying crowbars. Across town in the bank lobby, Ryan had just been escorted out after erupting in fury over the rejection. Signature mismatch, ink partially erased by the scanner's heat. He read Amelia's message, his face drained from crimson rage to ashen terror. Loan denied, thugs at the gate, trapped, no money to flee. The only place left to force a proper signature, or worse, was home. He had to risk it. He had to slip in through the back. His call came seconds later. "Amy, listen carefully. Don't leave the house. Lock everything. I'm on my way." "Ryan, who are they? I'm scared," Amelia replied, her voice a flawless tremor of fear. "It's a misunderstanding. Just stay inside. Don't open for anyone but me." He hung up and floored the accelerator, weaving recklessly through Manhattan traffic. He had no idea Amelia sat serenely at the dining table, sipping jasmine tea. Before her lay the original house deed. She had moved it to a safe deposit box a year earlier on nothing more than a nagging instinct. The final act was in motion. Ryan slipped through the side garage door, evading the men at the front. He burst inside breathless, suit crumpled, hair wild. The house lay hushed, curtains drawn, lights low. Candles flickered on the dining table, beside 2 plates of cold steak and an open bottle of wine. Amelia sat at the head, regal in a deep maroon dress, makeup impeccable, a stark counterpoint to the storm raging in him. "Ryan, you're home. How did you get in? Your guests are still waiting out front," she said softly, too softly. He ignored the meal, the candles. He strode forward and seized her shoulders. "You sabotaged that document. The signature was wrong. The bank rejected it. You tampered with it on purpose, didn't you?" Amelia eased his hands away with calm precision. She lifted her wine glass, swirling the deep red liquid. "Sit down, Ryan. Let's discuss this rationally. There's no time. Those men outside want me dead. Sign it now, the right way." He yanked a fresh, crumpled set of papers from his briefcase. Amelia took another slow sip, then met his eyes. The look stopped him cold, empty, glacial, piercing. "I know about the watch, Ryan." He froze, mouth parting slightly. "What?" "I know you framed Maria. I know you sold the Rolex in the Diamond District for $35,000. I know you owe over $100,000 in gambling debts. I know you were fired 2 months ago." Each revelation landed like a hammer blow. She lifted the small black notebook she'd found. "I know about Vina. I know your plan to discard me once you'd bled every asset dry." Ryan stood petrified. Fury dissolved into raw horror. The naive wife he'd dismissed had unraveled every secret. How did you find out?" His voice was a hoarse rasp. "From the burner phone you dismissed Maria for carrying. She recorded everything. Your vile plans, your call with Aunt Carol, all of it." He stared at the notebook, then at her unflinching face. Slowly, the fear receded, replaced with something darker, desperation. He laughed, a low chuckle that swelled into manic, unhinged mirth. "Wow, my wife is clever after all. I underestimated you." He crossed to the front door, locked it, and pocketed the key. Then he moved to the kitchen, drew a large carving knife from the block, and twirled it casually. "Well, if you know everything, there's no need for pretense anymore, is there, darling?" His eyes gleamed wildly. "I need that money, Amy. I'll get it one way or another, with your willing signature or your dead thumbprint. Your choice. Sign now, or I'll make sure those thugs outside find your body and believe they did the job." He advanced. Amelia remained seated. She didn't flinch. Her right hand drifted under the table, fingers closing around the object she'd taped there earlier. "Did you think I was foolish enough to stage a romantic dinner with a murderer without preparation?" The dining room lights snapped off. Pitch darkness. No accident. Beneath the table, near her knee, she had wired a smart plug to the main fixture. With a single tap on the phone concealed in her lap, she killed the power. "Damn it, Amelia! Turn on the lights!" Ryan's shout cracked with panic. A chair scraped violently, a heavy thud, the knife slamming blindly into the wooden table. Amelia stayed silent. She slid from her seat, crawling soundlessly across the thick rug towards the kitchen island. Ryan's breathing came in harsh, ragged bursts. "Don't play games, Amy. The door is locked. I have the key." A blinding white beam sliced the dark, his phone flashlight sweeping erratically across the room. Amelia crouched behind the marble island, heart hammering against her ribs. Ryan loomed in the flashlight's glow, his face lit from beneath like a demon's. His tailored jacket was gone, his shirt drenched in sweat, the carving knife clenched in a white-knuckled fist. "Come out, you bitch!" he roared, kicking a dining chair across the floor. "Sign the damn papers or I'll cut off your fingers one by one until you can hold a pen." Outside, heavy banging erupted at the front gate. Bang! Bang! "Ryan, get out here! We know you're in there!" The loan shark's voices carried clearly through the night. Ryan flicked a panicked glance toward the front windows, his face draining of color. Trapped between deadly debt collectors outside and a wife who held the power to destroy him inside, his mind finally fractured. "This is all your fault, Amelia!" he raved, advancing toward the kitchen, flashlight beam and knife sweeping wildly. "If you weren't so damn cheap, if you just died sooner like your parents, I wouldn't be in this mess." Amelia's hand darted into the nearest drawer, searching for the defenses she'd prepared. Not a knife, but something better. Her fingers closed around a cold cylinder, a portable fire extinguisher. Beside it, a can of pepper spray. The flashlight beam swept closer, catching the hem of her maroon dress. "Ah, there you are," he hissed. He lunged. Amelia sprang up. "Eat this, Ryan!" She unleashed the fire extinguisher directly into his face. A thick white cloud of chemical powder exploded outward, choking the air. "Ugh, my eyes!" Ryan screamed, dropping the knife and clawing at his face, gasping and coughing. Amelia didn't hesitate. She kicked the blade far under the refrigerator and bolted for the stairs, tearing the slit in her dress higher for speed. Her destination, the master bathroom on the second floor, her last stronghold. Below, Ryan's coughing turned to furious curses. "Amelia, I'm going to kill you!" His heavy footsteps pounded after her. She slammed the bedroom door, locked it, then raced into the ensuite bathroom and locked that door too, two barriers between them. She climbed onto the vanity, pried open the exhaust fan cover, and retrieved Maria's Nokia burner phone and a small power bank. The phone powered on. She hit speed dial. Not 911, her father's senior lawyer, Mr. Davies, who had the chief of police on direct line. "Mr. Davies, help! Ryan is trying to kill me," she cried into the phone. A heavy thud shook the bedroom door. Crack! It burst inward. Now he was at the bathroom door. "Open up, Amelia! Calling the police is useless," he shouted. "Those thugs will break in before the cops arrive. If they get to us, we're both dead. Give me the deed. It's the only way we survive." Amelia retreated to the far corner, turning the shower on full blast to mask her voice. "He's at the door," she whispered into the phone. "He has a knife. He's confessed to everything. Please record this as my dying declaration if I don't make it." "Stay on the line, Amelia," Mr. Davies answered calmly. "I'm en route with a tactical unit." Suddenly, the sound of shattering glass exploded from the bedroom, not Ryan, but the balcony doors. The loan sharks had scaled the gate and reached the second floor. Ryan fell silent. Now he was trapped in the bedroom with the debt collectors, while Amelia remained locked in the bathroom. "Well, well, Mr. Ryan, hard man to find," a deep voice boomed. "The boss sends his regards." Amelia pressed her ear to the door. Wait, man, don't hurt me." Ryan's voice cracked into pleading. "My wife's in the bathroom. She has the deed. Break down the door and take it. It's all yours." Tears streamed down Amelia's face. Even now, at the end, he was trying to trade her life for his. "Move," the thug growled. Kaboom! A powerful kick slammed the bathroom door. Kaboom! The hinges buckled. Amelia scanned for anything she could use. Shampoo bottle, toothbrush, useless. Then she saw it, her hair straightener still plugged in from earlier, its indicator light glowing red hot at 450 degrees Fahrenheit. She yanked the cord free and gripped the handle like a searing blade. Crash! The door flew open. A thug in a leather jacket stepped through, sneering triumphantly. Behind him, Ryan trembled, face still caked in white powder. "The deed, pretty lady," the thug said, reaching for her. Amelia didn't flinch. "I don't have it. The original is in a safe deposit box. I swallowed the key." The thug laughed. "Don't play comedian." He lunged to grab her hair. Amelia swung the straightener with all her strength, clamping the scorching plates onto his palm. The stench of burning flesh filled the tiny room. The thug howled, jerking his hand back. Ryan seized the moment, not to help her, but to shove the injured thug toward Amelia and sprint for the balcony, aiming to jump. "Get him!" the burned thug bellowed to his partner. Amelia was knocked backward into the bathtub, head striking the tile. Her vision blurred. The burner phone skittered across the wet floor. The injured thug arose, eyes blazing, switchblade gleaming. "You're dead." Amelia's hands scrambled, finding a heavy-duty porcelain cleaner. As he swung the knife, she hurled the caustic liquid into his face. Another scream. He staggered, blinded, slashing wildly. Amelia scrambled out of the bathroom and fled the bathroom. On the balcony, Ryan dangled from the railing, too terrified to jump. He saw her. "Help me, Amy! Pull me up!" he begged. Amelia stood in the doorway, staring down at her husband. In the distance, sirens wailed, growing louder. "Do you hear that, Ryan?" Amelia asked, voice ice cold. "Please, Amy, I'm going to fall." She stepped forward, not to save him, but to retrieve his phone from the floor. The screen showed an incoming call from Aunt Carol. Amelia answered and switched to speaker. "Ryan, where are you? The police are raiding my house. They know about the money laundering. You have to run. Don't you dare drag me into this." Aunt Carol's frantic voice shrieked before the call cut off. Ryan heard every word. His face collapsed into utter despair. His world had ended. "Enjoy the hell you created, Ryan," Amelia whispered. She turned away as the sirens grew deafening. She turned and walked back inside, leaving him dangling from the railing. Moments later, the front door was shattered, not by loan sharks, but by a SWAT team, with Mr. Davies striding in right behind them. "Police, don't move." The thugs inside and on the balcony dropped to their knees and surrendered immediately. Amelia descended the stairs slowly. Her red dress was torn, her body ached, her hair was in disarray, yet she stood tall. Mr. Davies rushed forward, draping his own suit jacket over her shoulders. "Amelia, are you all right?" She nodded weakly. "I'm safe, Uncle." Officers escorted the thugs out in handcuffs. Then two more brought Ryan in from the side garden. He limped badly. His jump had sprained his ankle. His hands were cuffed behind him. As they passed her, Ryan stopped. All arrogance had vanished. Only the face of a broken, pathetic man remained. "Amy," he whimpered, "help me. Tell them this was just a domestic dispute. I promise I'll change. I'll go to therapy. We can start over." Amelia looked at him with empty eyes. The old Amelia might have wavered. The recordings had killed that woman. She reached into Mr. Davies' jacket pocket and withdrew a clear evidence bag containing the cracked, water-damaged Nokia phone she had retrieved from the bathroom floor. "Officer," she said loudly, handing it to the lead detective, "this contains recordings of conspiracy to commit murder, asset fraud, and embezzlement committed by my husband and his aunt. Please prosecute him to the fullest extent of the law." Ryan's eyes bulged. "Amelia, how could you—" "Take him away," she commanded coldly, refusing to look at him again. Ryan was dragged out, screaming curses that faded into the night. The evening ended with Amelia on the sofa in her wrecked living room, surrounded by crime scene technicians. This house was no longer a palace. It had been a stage. Tonight, the final curtain had fallen. 6 months later, the rhythmic crash of waves soothed the soul. A gentle sea breeze fluttered the white curtains of a small, charming villa on the Santa Barbara coast. Not lavish, but warm and peaceful. Amelia sat on the terrace with her laptop, reviewing orders for her new online boutique, built from the modest personal savings she had managed to protect. The legal battles had been exhausting, but the outcome was just. Ryan had been sentenced to 12 years on multiple counts. His debts were not her burden, thanks to the prenuptial agreement her late father had insisted upon. Aunt Carol had suffered a stroke while attempting to flee the country and now sat under guard in a hospital prison wing. Vina had disappeared and was rumored to be a fugitive in another fraud case. The Greenwich house had been sold. Amelia wanted no trace of those memories. "Ma'am, Amelia, the coconut water is ready." A familiar voice floated from the kitchen. Maria appeared with a tray, 2 glasses of fresh coconut water and a plate of fried bananas. Her face was healthy and full again, her smile wide. She wore a bright new sundress, a gift from Amelia. "Thank you, Maria. Sit with me." "Oh, it wouldn't be proper." "Sit, that's an order," Amelia teased gently. Maria laughed and settled beside her. Amelia closed her laptop and retrieved a small gift box from a drawer. A late birthday present. Maria opened it carefully. Her eyes widened. Inside lay a sleek, modern smartphone. "Oh my goodness, ma'am, my old one still works." "That old phone is a retired war hero," Amelia said with a smile. She pointed to a small glass frame on the living room wall. Mounted like a museum piece was the cracked Nokia, still held together by its rubber band, a humble monument that had saved both their lives. "If not for that phone and your courage, Maria, I'd be dead or homeless right now." Maria wiped away a tear. "I only did what was right, ma'am. God is always watching. Bad people fall, good people are kept safe." "Yes," Amelia agreed softly, "but sometimes good people have to stop being naive in order to survive." They sat in companionable silence, watching the sunset paint the sky in orange and purple. Amelia took a deep breath, tasting freedom. She was no longer the beautiful, foolish wife. She was no longer a victim. The wounds in her heart might never fully heal, just like the cracks in that old Nokia screen. But through those very cracks, light had finally entered, letting her see both the world and herself more clearly. Her new phone buzzed, a flood of fresh boutique orders. Life continued, and this time, Amelia was the one writing the story. What do you think? If you were in Amelia's shoes when Ryan begged for forgiveness at the end, pathetic, limping, promising to change, would you have shown mercy for the sake of old memories, or would you have made sure he was locked away for as long as possible? Type forgive or prison in the comments. I'm curious what you would do.